Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lifestyle Self-Made. My name is Yusuf Kalan, and I have Alice Seba with me today. Hello, Alice. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very excited to be here and welcome everyone to the podcast launch party. Long awaited. We've been promising this forever and so glad that we're finally getting it all together for you.
Yeah, we're very glad to have finally put everything together. In the last few weeks, we've had an opportunity to interview several entrepreneurs who have been in the business for many, many years. And throughout our questioning process, you will learn a little bit more about their entrepreneurial journey, the challenges that they went through, and how they overcame those challenges.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think, and it's really great to hear from other entrepreneurs because it's inspiring, but you learn through their mistakes and stuff. And some of the themes that today we're going to cover are knowing when it's time to quit your job, how to keep your business making money when life gets in the way, effectively managing your time, to choose to for your chosen lifestyle, which is a really big theme to the podcast, right? We're calling this lifestyle self-made in that that's the beauty of online business, that you get to choose what your life looks like and how your business looks as well, and how those things can work together. We also talk about today starting over and creating a business that fits you perfectly and manifesting what you want in life and business. So there are also prizes. As mentioned, we have $1,870 in cool done-for-you content prizes and templates and things like that. And just so you know, this is actually you're watching a recording. We are in the chat with you right now, and we'll be doing all the prize giveaways in the chat. So you need to be keeping an eye on the chat, but also listening, because the prize giveaways will depend on listening to our various speakers. So what we have today, I don't know if you said, Yusuf. So what we're doing is we do have these 7 great initial podcast guests, and what we're going to watch today is just one clip from each of those, so you can see what's coming up in the next couple of months in the podcast. We'll be releasing a new interview each week, but this is just a little glimpse, and I think there's lots of great wisdom in what you're going to hear, and we're super excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So do you want to just dive straight into it and watch the
I think
clip?
so. Why don't we get into our first guest? Yeah.
All right. So the first guest is Ty Cohen, who is an accomplished internet marketer, personal development coach, mentor, internationally known speaker. He has made over $50 million in personal sales. And in this clip, he's going to talk about how he got started with entrepreneurship and his first entrepreneurial journey or experience, and then also the uncertainty in business and the uncertainty with job security and when to take a leap of faith and quitting your job. So let's watch that clip right now. What brought you to entrepreneurship?
Good question. I just wanted more, and I knew that like having a 9 to 5, I worked really hard. I had one real job in life, and I worked really hard at that job, and it didn't really move the needle much. And I said, look, if I want to do some things, meaning live in a different environment, drive a different type of car, have a different type of home, eat on the other side of a menu, go to different types of restaurants, travel to different places. The 9 to 5 that I had, which was a good one at that time by standards, still wasn't going to get me there. So that was it. So here's the thing, and so remember I said I stuck with that job for 9 years. I actually did. I ended up liking that job, and here's the reason why I liked it. I liked it because I like people, right? I like variety in people. I like different ethnic groups. I like different ages. I especially learned to love like speaking to. I'm 19 at that time, so if you were 30, you were ancient to me. So I loved speaking to the older 30-year-olds, right? And then the 40 and the 50 and 60 and 70-year-olds that came in, was able to get so many life lessons from them. Like I would literally be in Yaos talking to these 70 and 80-year-olds who would just share things. And I thought that it was the coolest thing ever. So that job was bittersweet for me when I ended up quitting it. But I ended up quitting it because I had ended up starting one of my first businesses at 19. I had ended up getting the business to a point where it was doing really well by the time I was 20. Now here I am, 20. I've got this business that's doing well, and what I mean is I'm doing about $30,000 a month with this business, selling Barbie dolls and old GI Joes from the '60s and Disney wind-ups and collectibles and Mego dolls and all of this stuff. Now here I am. I'm 20 years old. I've got a business that's successful. I'm still working at Walgreens. Here's the reason why. Because even though I was successful with it, I didn't believe that you could have this independence. And there's people that are here right now that are probably watching this thing, and you've got this thing and you're holding on to something else because the security is in that other thing. Right. So I had my mom and I had other people telling me, look, you're invested in the stock purchase program with Walgreens. You've got medical, right? You've got insurance. You've got all of this other stuff, right? And I'm like, but I'm making $30,000 a month here. At Walgreens, I was making probably about $3,000, $3,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 times more, but I'm holding on to the security. So it took me 3 years to quit that job because of that. I would go in and I would, my supervisor's name was Jerry Press. So I would go in and I would tell her, Miss Press, I'm going to quit this job. I'm quitting. I'm giving my 2 weeks. And they would say, Ty, could you just hold on? Could you just stick with us? And me being a nice guy and not wanting to really quit because of uncertainty, right? So one of the most basic human needs is certainty. So not having that certainty, I'm like, yes, thank God she asked me to stay on again. Because I really didn't want to quit, right?
Oh.
So you get it? So that was it, right? So it's sometimes we'll have these things in our lives where we know we should be going in this direction, but the hardest thing to do is to cut off everything else that's keeping us over here. Even though but it's a Pareto principle, right? The 80% could be over here and it's just this 20%, right? So
Yeah,
I kind of recognize myself there as well. It took me a while to quit my job because of, the security, although I was making more from my entrepreneurial projects. But for some reason, I did not feel comfortable to cut the ties with my job and focus on my business alone until, later on I summed up enough courage to do it. So for the people that find themselves in that predicament, what would you recommend to them?
You know what? I would actually really listen to your heart. I would listen to your heart because, Steve Jobs used to talk about this, right? It never lies, it never fails you. And I think what happens is as we get older, we start to get a little bit more reasonable. We start to kind of tune out our heart. But if you listen to, like, there's times when I know I should have left and I'm listening to my heart in the sense of, but they need me. There's no one else that can do the job as well as I can here, right? The same battles that we have as entrepreneurs. I can't hire someone because there's no one else that can do it as well as I can, right? They're not going to. So those same issues there, and listening to your heart, but also not listening to people who are not in the position that you want to be in. Because oftentimes it's the people, nothing against, the people that love you because they love you and they don't want to see you fall. They don't want to see you screw up, right? So they're like, there's security there and there's foreignness to it. Very few people that you may know in your immediate circles, family members, right? Your friends, your neighbors that are going to go in and take that leap and quit their job that they've been at for 9 years to just do this thing where they're 100% responsible for it.
All right. So that was the first clip with Ty Cohen. We had a really great conversation with Ty. We got to know a lot of things about him, where he grew up and how he started his entrepreneurial journey and what challenges he faced. And there is more that we talked about. Is there anything, Alice, that you remember from the interview? Now, I know it's been a while, but
I
bring to our attention.
Yeah, I've known Ty for quite some time, and he is such an inspirational guy. I mean, he has, and he spoke about it in the interview, he has a disease where he was told he was going to be dead by the time he was 18. And he really, truly has cheated death a number of times because of his mindset and his determination, right? And the thing we mentioned in the clip there, but he sticks with things, right? We also did talk about real estate investing, including your kids in your business, and then his health struggles and refusing to die, right? And really super great guy to always listen to.
Yeah, we had a great conversation. I hope you guys will watch the entire episode when it gets released. But for now, let's do prizes. So you've been listening patiently, and we just want to test your ability to pay attention to the clip. Yeah. So the first prize that we're giving out, it's a year's worth of goal setting content. And the value of this package is actually $197. And it's got basically a year worth of goal setting content.
Tons of done for you content and printables and articles, reports, all kinds of great things that you can put into practice for your business.
Yeah. So the question that we would like to ask is, where did Ty work? And the third answer that gets it right will take this home.
Yeah, and just put your answer in the comments, or in the chat, and we will be delivering the prize in the chat. So we will move on to our next podcast guest, who is a very special person to me, one of my first online friends from 2002. And it's Kelly McCausey, and I think many people probably here know her. She's a mindset coach, a podcast pioneer, which is something we talked about in the interview. Not in this clip, but and also a Twitch streaming grandmother, a former foster mom. But this particular clip is about keeping your business making money when life gets in the way, which happens to all of us, right? There could be health things, family things, anything, right? It gets in the way, but how do you keep things going?
My life has changed dramatically in the last few years. When just as the pandemic was hitting, I had decided to start taking action on a long time goal of moving towards adopting. And I became a foster parent and fostered 3 different teenage girls over the course of a year and a half. And thank goodness for a successful, vibrant, multi-income stream business, because the last year of that was just pure chaos.
Wow.
Being involved in the foster care system, working with teenagers that have been traumatized, it was a crazy roller coaster ride. And man, it took me back, like it put me through the ringer, because, Alice knows that I'm a child, I'm adopted, was raised by alcoholic parents. My mother was physically and emotionally abusive. And so here I am, 56 years old, thinking, I got this, no problem. I'm not got this.
Yeah, but like what you said though, like going back to what about thank goodness for the multiple income streams and stuff, because whether someone is going to be adopting, they have their own kids, you were able to take, put the time into that. And that is such a blessing. Like I sometimes think about, obviously, for a while I did go to a full-time job, but looking back, I don't know how people do it. How do they do it? 40 hours a week. Then they have to do all the commuting and everything else. And it's like, it's a lot. And it sounds like I'm whining, but I appreciate that people are able to do that. And having this freedom gives you an opportunity to do something else with meaningful.
Well, you've raised these teenagers. You know what it's like. There was a good 3 months where I had no control over my days. Like I was constantly being called to the schools. If it wasn't one school, it was the other school.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, there was always another appointment to go to, and just managing the chaos all the time, that I was just so grateful that I could dial back what I needed to do on a day-to-day basis, and make really laser targeted decisions about when I was going to make time to work, had to be focused on money. I couldn't dawdle around with some other fun thing. It was like, what's going to make money today?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what was that thing that like that made you the money, if you will, so that you can focus?
Email marketing,
Mhm.
affiliate marketing, promoting my own offers. A little less time. My podcast faded into the background quite a bit at that time because the act of sitting down and recording a podcast is not a direct money making activity.
Yeah.
It supports my business, it builds my community, creates connection, but it's not a direct financial paycheck. So
Definitely.
I had to focus on what can I promote today? What buy button can I publish today?
I can't remember now. I was just listening that if I mentioned Kelly is actually, I said I've known her for a long time, but she's actually a former business partner. And one thing I love about her also, which you will see in the full interview, is how she really cheers people on. And my favorite part, I think, of the interview is about hearing about her Twitch adventures and making a difference to young people. So maybe if some of our visitors here today are a little bit older and don't know what Twitch is. I only know because of my kids. It's generally a streaming platform for video games, right? So Kelly is like a granny who does these Twitch streams, and she has this game she loves, but she struggles to play it, and she'll tell you more about it. But she's kind of built this community of people who kind of see her as sort of this grandmother figure. So I thought that was really cool, like a way, and she also makes a little bit of money doing it at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, what I find interesting about that is that it like during the interview, she sort of like alluded to as if it was like an accidental thing. Like if she didn't want to become that, grandma that plays video games, but it was sort of like accidentally. It was an opportunity that came up, and she took advantage of it, and she became popular in that sense. And she's been around in business for a very long period of time, so she's got a lot of experience to share with you. Alice mentioned that she was her business partner in the past. So yeah, there is a lot of things that we got to talk about and learn from Kelly, and it was very interesting. So I hope you guys will tune in for that episode when it gets released.
Yeah.
So let's do prizes for this. Are we ready for this?
So this time I think it's a theme for Kelly talking about being a foster mom and being at home. And actually, Kelly, all her life was homeschooled her son as well. So we have a year's worth of homeschooling content. So a similar type package as the other one, with lots of printables, reports, articles, journals, planners. I can't remember now, but the value is $197. And if let's say the 12th person to answer correctly will win, and we will talk to you in the chat only, and so you got to be paying attention, is how many children did Kelly foster? All right, so I guess we will move on to the next one. This, our next guest that we'd like to introduce you to, just a little clip from her, is Debbie Drum, also someone I've known for quite some time, and you have met also in person too, Yusuf, right, when we were in Texas. So she's a sunbird now at age 44, so meaning she heads down to Florida to get away from the New York winter weather, but at such a young age, as we think of it being for some people who are older. She's a competitive pickleball player, content creator, and an AI enthusiast. And the clip we're going to show you is about being an introvert and actually playing both your introvert and extrovert sides and managing your time.
But we're also very relatable in the sense where we're comfortable being introverts, but we can be extroverts, right? And I follow this woman. She's a great business person. Her name is Carrie Sanchez. I just follow her on YouTube, and she talks about how, like, I don't give a shit if you're an introvert, you're an extrovert. These are the things that you have to do in business. And it's like, you can't use that excuse anymore. Oh, I'm an introvert, so I can't do this. Or it's like, no, these are the things that you have to do to, I guess, make it for yourself, right? If you want to
Yeah.
have a business, I mean, you can always hire people, but who the hell can do that, especially when they're starting out? You got to be your own spokesperson. I guess now AI can be a spokesperson for you, but that's more challenging than just opening up your mouth and talking, right?
Yeah, it still requires an extroverted mind to kind of teach the AI, right?
Absolutely.
I find
Yeah.
that being an introvert and extrovert is it's like an engine. You can turn it on and off whenever you want to, right? So but obviously there are ways that you can do to train yourselves to be like more of an extroverted person. I'm naturally more introverted. I like to be by myself and all that stuff. But from time to time, I have to step out of my comfort zone in order to do certain things that I don't like to do, right? And when you do it more often, it becomes more natural, like doing like the podcast. Initially, I'm like, do I want to do it? And then eventually, after now we're into how many episodes, like 5 or 6, and it feels like more natural, and it feels like I stepped out of my comfort zone in that sense.
But wasn't the podcast, or wasn't it your idea though? Like,
It was, yes, and it was one of the things that I kind of like forced upon myself in order to step out of my comfort zone. And yeah, but that's what you just got to train yourself to kind of turn it on and off whenever you want to. So
Absolutely.
where are you introverted though, Debbie?
I
In
do
what
like,
ways?
yeah, I mean, I like to, like, my favorite time is just like sitting and creating and writing, or doing something that's not involved speaking to anybody. um, and I have a rule that I don't talk on Mondays.
The whole entire day? Like a monk? Like that kind of not talking?
Yeah, I find that Mondays I can get so much work done. So there's no phone calls, there's no interviews, there's no like videos that I'm even shooting,
Right.
because that's not the day for it. It's just a quiet day where I just keep my head down, get stuff done. Because the thing is, like, once I speak or do something for like 45 minutes, an hour, that involves speaking, then I tend to get a little tired after that, and I have to kind of control that and maintain that somehow.
Yeah, it
So
used to be for me to do anything like this, or even like any type of longer video or training, that the whole day would be shot after that.
yeah,
I wouldn't be doing anything, just and
I'm
now
still
I
in
sort
that
of
phase.
can do some work after. Sorry.
yeah.
I said I'm still in that phase. Like after this, I won't do anything. I'm just gonna go to
Yeah.
sleep.
And now, like, the webinars, like, I used to do live webinars once a week, and the live where you kind of
Oh,
record stuff and play it. I'm like, I'm doing a webinar, but you're not really doing it. That's been such a game changer.
yeah. So how do you like, because you talked about like Mondays are a quiet day or an inside your mind day and a finger day, but how do you divide up the rest of it, like your week, to like, are there strategies you use to stay more productive or to make sure you have more time to do the things you want, whatever your priorities are?
Yeah, I mean, usually if I have a project going on, I like to spend about an hour a day of zoning in on that project. I tend to not like to rush projects, so I don't like to say, oh, I'm building this and it's going to be ready next week. I give myself enough time. But I also feel like sometimes I could push myself more and get stuff done quicker. But that, I there's no reason for me to rush anymore, which is nice.
Yeah, it's working for you. But when you
Yeah.
say like you give yourself more time, do you still like give yourself a deadline, but you just give yourself a longer one, or do you sort of leave
Yeah.
it open-ended? Okay.
It's kind of a longer deadline and a realistic one too. Uh, one of the things that I just hate doing is rushing through anything, and there's just no point to it.
So that was the third clip, and Alice is going to talk a little bit about it.
Yes. So Debbie actually became a good friend of mine after meeting her at a conference, and you'll definitely see why as we talk to her more in the full interview. She's fun, she's a hard worker, and has a great outlook on life and business. And I really think people, I know a lot of people, I'm the kind of person who sets like a shorter deadline because I work well with that, and sometimes I force Yusuf to do that too, and he's more like Debbie where he wants more time. But I think a lot of people are sort of like how Debbie is, and says like you still have to be firm with yourself, right? And give yourself more time, because we do have a lot of people who don't like to rush things. I know maybe some people watching here, we have retirees who are, looking for a new income stream. So they're not necessarily wanting to like, go all the time. So I thought those words from Debbie were pretty helpful, right?
Yeah, what I liked about like this part of the clip is that or what I've also learned, and I'm trying to kind of implement it. Sometimes it's good to have like quiet days where you don't actually plan anything, or even if you plan to work, then that work, it does not entail communicating with other people. You just do basically the work that you need to do by yourself, because through talking to other people and stuff like that, you do actually burn a lot of energy, and it does kind of like deplete your social what do you call it, like your social energy, if you will. So that's one of the things that I decided to sort of somewhat implement. Now it's only being implemented on Sundays, where I don't interact with people, or try not to interact with people, but it does get hard sometimes. But in this interview, we talked about everything stemming from, her entrepreneurial journey, her hobbies, playing pickleball, AI, and how it has
Yeah,
helped her
let's not talk about
business.
AI. Yeah.
Yeah, and then scheduling, and how she schedules her work schedule and all that stuff. So there's a lot of information that you guys, including us actually, that we have found valuable, and you might find valuable as well. And I hope that you will be tuning in to the episode once it gets released.
Yeah, and like I also find we're going to give out a prize, and then we're going to talk about the next guest, and they have sort of an opposing view about AI. And I think the balance of both is very interesting, and I think both are very valid. So I think that will be great. I don't believe the clip shows that, but in the full interview. But
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
just giving a little bit of a preview. But now we're going to give away another year's worth of content. And this one is about productivity, since that is a topic that was related to Debbie's interview. And this one is also $197 value. And we are going to give the prize to the 10th correct person to answer. And please tell us in the chat, and we will deliver the prize in the chat as well, what day of the week does Debbie keep as her quiet day? And now I'll pass it over to Yusuf to introduce that next person.
Our next guest is Colin Terrio, a former web designer who became a copywriter, who also taught copywriting. Then he started teaching how to make a teaching business. And now he teaches how to make yourself into a guru in your field and sell yourself as an influencer. In this clip, he's going to talk about his journey from going, he's going to be talking about his journey from going from being a web programmer to becoming a copywriter, and the challenges that he experienced in his entrepreneurial journeys. Yeah, so you mentioned that you were a programmer. I did some of that before as well. I worked a lot with CSS, PHP, and C++. And then I quit because I found that, with the applications, WordPress and all that stuff that developed, I felt like I'm wasting my time building applications rather than focusing on building businesses and marketing, which is the reason why I got into programming in the first place. What made you make that transition from being a programmer to whatever you're doing today?
Okay, so first I was in art school. I went to art school, which is the opposite of marketing. However, the way you get graded in art school is like you do a group critique and you show up with your painting that you did to fulfill the assignment, and then you get to explain to everyone what you did and what your plan was. So I didn't know it at the time, but I was learning the art of bullshitting, which is basically like, due to the artificial constraints of this parochial environment, I was not able to fulfill my true vision. But let me tell it to you now. And then by the end of art school, I think I can get away with this. They won't come and take my diploma or anything, but I was turning in paintings from like previous classes untouched and just giving a different story about why it fit the assignment.
Repurposing, smart.
Yeah. It made some people mad, but they never tattled on me. So kudos to them for not snitching. So while I was doing that, as a campus job, I just told the story yesterday. I was reminded of it. As a campus job, I did the classified section of the school newspaper, and a local company was trying to hire a web designer, and I didn't run the ad, and I replied to it. So I was the only person who applied for the job because I didn't show it to anybody else. But they were looking for like web design for client sites. They were kind of like an agency, I guess you would call it today. So that was my transition from art to graphic design. And then while I was on that job is when I learned, you called it programming. I don't know that I would call it that. It was like no logic, just straight HTML style sheets, but like I didn't get the computer to do anything but show you with the web page. So I did that for a while. That carried through my career until I was doing web design at a marketing company, and the copywriter got sick. And I volunteered to help out, and my boss at the time, Andy Jenkins, rest in peace, he said, do you like doing this? And I said, well, Andy, it's better than illegally wiring your rental house so we can work from it as a startup. And he said, great, so you're hired. You're the chief marketing copywriter now, so get good at it. And then that company had, I guess you would call it a business divorce, where like the two guys who co-owned it did not like each other anymore and split apart. And in that, I left also, and that's the start of my freelance copywriting career. And at that point, to circle all the way back to your question, when did you decide to like move past doing that stuff? I knew when I left there, I would give myself some time. I talked it over with my wife to see, like, the revelation I had is like, for these two guys, I'm writing drafts, at least drafts of all of their copy, and they're selling millions of dollars worth of stuff. The only thing they have that I don't have is people know who they are. I'm doing the writing, I'm putting the buy button on it. So let me set about manufacturing that for myself, and I'll give myself like 5 years or whatever. It's been 15 now. And that's what I set out to do, is like leverage copywriting as a way to turn myself into an influential seller where people buy based on my recommendation and not because I wrote a 20-page sales letter or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love this. It's a great illustration of how casual and it feels like you go with the flow, right? Like, did you know even that you were going to be any type of entrepreneur? I don't even know if you call yourself an entrepreneur, actually, because I think I heard you say something.
Yeah, I consider myself as self-employed, and I've waffled with it over the years, but I consider basically what I live as like the life of an artist. So I work on the things that I want to work on. I have patrons who pay me to create those things by request or recommendation. I mostly make a lot of things that are the things that I feel like I want to make. And they are in the vein of things I've been interested in my whole life. So like trickery and persuasion and psychology and even the artistic aspects of advertising are all things that I liked before I ever got into marketing. So I'm very fortunate that making that stuff at will is how I make my living.
So when you made that transition by accident or whatever you want to call it to
Uh,
going on your own, how was it in the beginning? Was it tough, easy, or did you have any like, eh, yeah,
yeah,
just walk us through your
yeah.
feeling.
I was super fortunate and privileged at the beginning of my freelancing career because I mentioned my boss Andy Jenkins, who when he left that company we were at together, it was called StomperNet. He had to do his own thing as well, and I was already his copywriter. Like I was already writing things in his voice because he had been the voice of the publications in the previous company. So he hired me right away to do his next launch that he had to do because he didn't have a job anymore. Neither did I. So we worked together on that. I think it was, I can't remember if he did Video Boss or Kajabi first, but he helped launch the first version of Kajabi at the time, and I helped with writing both of those. Um, but he not only hired me, but referred me out as like the open secret. Now this guy is available. He was the writer for StomperNet. And he, without asking me, told people how much I charged, which was way more than what I would have asked for myself. So that was the kind of guy he was. He's a controversial figure. People got opinions about him. I can't say a bad word because he was so generous to me for no real reason that he had to. So to that end, I was very privileged to get those referrals. And again, my game was, I'm not doing this to have a long copywriting career. I am doing this to very quickly build up a reputation for myself. So like name recognition. And to that end, I took on projects that I knew I could brag about and people would recognize in the space. And the way I met Alice was through speaking at marketing events. And that's how I got into speaking at marketing events, is because I wasn't just a random copywriter. I was the guy who wrote this launch and that launch, and other speakers were my clients. So through the luck of copywriters normally being shy and me being positioned on purpose to weasel my way onto stage, that kind of blew up the early part of my career. And really my freelancing career was from, let's see, I quit StomperNet like August of 09. And I quote unquote retired from writing copy for clients to run the Cult of Copy full time in September 2012. So from 09 to 2012 is the only time period where I was taking on clients.
All right, so that was the clip from the interview with Colin, and we had a really great interview. We discussed a lot of topics ranging from AI and its impacts on artists as well as copywriters. Just like Alice mentioned earlier, unlike Debbie, who had a positive like way of viewing AI, Colin had a more of like a negative view of AI as he does not appreciate how it harms the hardworking artist, right? And he also does not like how it leave you out with that connectivity with actually a real person. When you have a piece of art or a piece of like a copyright letter or whatever written by AI, sometimes it lacks that human element, and he will dive deeper into it during the interview.
Yeah, his arguments are quite deep, actually. And I found, like, we're just talking about the surface stuff, but it was very, very interesting to hear his perspective.
Yeah. I think I was a little bit more positive about AI until I talked to Colin, and then that changed me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it offered me some different perspective. Now I'm getting the perspective of an artist. As an entrepreneur, I kind of like it because maybe it does help me as an assistant to create certain things. But as somebody that actually a copywriter, they might, or an artist, they might see it as differently. But I also just as a side note, I know I'm getting off topic here. I met an artist not long ago, and he said actually AI helped increase the value of human art, which is also an interesting topic. It's because there are so many pieces of arts that are being scattered around the world now, being made by AI. There are a lot of people out there looking for something that is actually being made by humans, and because of it, even contemporary art has gone up in value as well, because it's becoming like sort of it's it was already scarce, but it's just an element to it. So
And I think that as an artist like that, you have to learn to leverage that to make your, I don't think in and of itself that the art is becoming more valuable, but he's probably figured out how to leverage the fact that he's doing real art. And that's what I really liked about Colin's interview too, is that he's, even in that little clip, he talks about how he leveraged everything that happened for himself to, and I think a lot of people will relate to him as well. Like, he doesn't consider himself an entrepreneur, more like self-employed, and he sort of goes with the flow and like but he's very smart and pays attention to things and takes the opportunities that are presented to him, but also has this very relaxed schedule. He was at the pub having a beer with us when he was talking, and he likes to go there. He like reads books in the pub, and like that's not at that time, but like I just see he posts a lot onto social media, and people should follow him as well, because he posts a lot of great copywriting tips. So you'll love this interview.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a copywriter and also an avid reader, we even asked him what type of books that he read, and
I wrote those down.
Yeah, and what he would recommend. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Don't give it away.
Okay, just wait for the interview and watch it. But so for now, let's just move on to the prices or prizes for this section. So we've got a prize to give away, $23. Sorry, not $23, but 23 course creation Canva template packs. Values at $621, and it's currently being sold for $67. So the third person, actually, let's do the eighth person to answer this question right will get the prize. What platform did Colin's boss start?
Yeah. And so again, put that in the chat, and we will deliver the prize there as well. And then we can move on to our next guest that we wanted to introduce you to, a very, very interesting person who's gone through a lot of transformation in his life and business. I think you guys will like, and his name is Ross Goldberg. He's an internet marketing veteran, definitely been around for a long time. He's overcome some very serious health challenges, which he's still dealing with, but making it work for his life and his business, and also a personal transformation as well. The clip that we're going to show you, he is talking about being really selective with making a change in his life, being more selective with time, taking care of yourself and seeing your value, and starting over when you need to in business.
But the truth is, I'm busy. I'm writing, I'm creating training, I'm coming up with new ideas and building my business. What I haven't really mentioned is that I spent like 10 years hanging out in the darkness after that Google slap. I was working with clients, and the truth was, instead of trying to look for the strong to make them stronger, I was getting all the people that were dying. Like they got robbed by an ad agency, or they didn't have a single sales letter that converted, so I ended up writing 5 sales letters in 5 weeks or something like that. Like, we're talking the bottom of the barrel, and I did that for 10 years, and I ended up making myself so sick that 2 years of bleeding and misery with colitis was because my clients were miserable, and it made me so sick that I'm like, I don't want this anymore. Why did I do this to myself? So I finally stepped into it, and I'm like, why would I not be helping the people that need me? And I also learned that I can't help everybody. And I also learned that I can be selective with who I work with.
100%.
And everything changed. The last like 9 months for me have been revelatory in so many ways. So many. And another new thing I learned is that I don't have to share everything I learn with the world.
No.
It can be for me or me in my smaller circles with my close friends, or I don't have to teach everything that I learn, which is kind of how my business was in the early days.
Mhm.
So now I get to be a big boy, all grown up, and do the things I actually enjoy. And I don't know that I've ever been happier in business, as we talked about in the beginning. I'm just having a ball.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, yeah, like that is a struggle, right? It sounds like you're a giver and that sometimes
Yes.
you may give to your own detriment, but you can always just being you and what you'll end up doing because you do care about people will give to people in different ways that you don't even realize that, yeah, you don't have to do all that. You still make an impact and you probably make a
You know,
bigger impact because you're not impeding your health.
yes. And paying attention to my own needs and realizing that I have value and that I need to take care of me because, I mean, there's a reason they have you put the gas mask on yourself first on an airplane, even when you're with children, because if you can't breathe, everyone in your crew dies.
100%.
How real is that? From a business perspective, they don't die. They just go hungry or have to live in a cardboard box with me. That is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But being a businessman, and this was it. For 20 years, I wasn't a businessman. I was a hobbyist who made really good money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now I am a businessman, and I am building a business, and I am targeting my people, and I am building an audience. I'm at the very beginning. In fact, I'm learning Go High Level right now. Someone shoot me, please. Rebuilding all my infrastructure. My email list has a whopping 6 people, and it's on the wrong platform. I have to move them over.
You're gonna get to that.
I haven't sent. I still outside of thank you for buying my buying my stuff. That's all that's even been sent to those lovely people. I haven't told them about the new product.
Mhm.
So being in this place, I get to build it exactly the way I want, and I can do exactly what I want to do. And now my skills, I'm getting to use most of them in a way that I'm actually enjoying. And it's been pretty incredible. 20 years in, you would think I learned some of this stuff by now, but every day I'm realizing different stuff and placing a higher value on my sanity. And I've had 2 different things that kind of came along. We're like, we could make it big. Yeah, we tried that a different time and it didn't work. So I'm going to go back to over here. I'm going to go back over here by myself. Thank you. No, I'm not giving. It's not worth it. I'm sorry. I love you. Bye.
Agreed. I mean, you have a lovely home, you have a lovely wife, you have children, like you have so many blessings in your work, in your life.
So that was another clip of the interview with Ross Goldberg.
Yeah, I really appreciate actually, there's a funny story that he told us. I don't know if you remember, and don't give it away. But at the beginning, yeah, about us meeting in person, I didn't remember that we had met in person, but apparently I gave him some kind of lecture about his behavior and he said it was well deserved. So I thought that was funny. But we did talk about a lot of things, including dealing with algorithms, the problems with people pleasing, which was sort of touched on there, trial and error learning, and also his military service, which ended up, causing him is part of the reason that he suffered for with some health issues. So it was really good to hear from him. So, well, yeah, what do you think, Yusuf?
Yeah, very interesting conversation, very interesting background, and it's interesting how he turned his life around. And also, what I take away from this one is that he said, he's been 20 years in business, but he's still learning, right? So sometimes it feels like, everything is new, which is true. I mean, in business, things do evolve. Things do, come, new technology, new inventions, artificial intelligence. You don't know how it's going to impact your business. Is it going to elevate it or not? That is certainly true, and that is sort of like something to set your mind on, because you know that in business you will always learn, and because of it, we have also started ekidhubuniversity.com with a lot of resources for you as an upcoming entrepreneur that you can use, or even if you're an established entrepreneur, that you can use to build your list, gain more sales, and do a lot of other things, right? So the learning process never ends. But here's the thing: despite the fact that there's still new stuff that you need to learn in business, some stuff do kind of like stay the same. So like the sales funnel and all that stuff, there are different strategies that you can apply, but the sales funnel will still remain the same. And
Funnels, the fundamentals are the same. Yeah.
exactly. So
And that's what we're trying to build there at ekidhubuniversity.com.
Yeah.
Go by there, guys, because we do have free classes there. There are 3 so far, and we do have the community as well, which is a great support and a great place to connect with other like-minded businesses. Because as you can kind of see, like, a lot of these people are people we know, that we've known for a long time, and that connection is important. We learn from each other, we work together. Joining a community like KidHub University means that you'll be able to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, people who are doing similar things, people you can work with, people who maybe can promote your products and you can promote theirs. So definitely do come by and join us.
Yeah, it's a list, community building opportunity rather than a list building opportunity where you will
But
get
you
to
can
know
learn how to grow your list in our free list building class.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into the prizes for this section, Alice.
Yeah, this time it's a year's worth of journaling content. So lots of printables, reports, articles, graphics, all kinds of things that will be useful to you if you sell journals, or you teach about journaling, or teach about personal development. And it is $197 value. And we are going to give the prize to the 14th correct person to answer in the chat. We will also deliver the prize in the chat, so keep your eyes there, but also keep your ears open for the next guest, who you're going to like very much as well. But how many years in business has Ross been going? Wow, that's a weird sentence, but you guys get the idea. How many years has Ross been in business? And now it's Yusuf's turn to introduce our next guest.
Our next clip is from an interview made with Lisa Meta Griff. She's actually a friend of Debbie Drum, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Alice?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I've never met Lisa myself, but being a good friend of Debbie's, when she told us about Lisa and just what she does and stuff, we knew that we had to interview her, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We found it exciting, and I'm glad that we made an interview with her. Who is Lisa? She's the founder of Metamorphs, headquartered in New York City, operating globally. Through her own journey to heal addiction, obsessive thinking, and master her mind, she created the Science of Change, a process for people who feel stuck and want to break through negative thinking into positive action to live life full of fun, abundance, and ease. In this clip that I'm going to show you, Lisa is sharing one of her favorite manifestation hacks and how you can actually use it in business.
Yeah.
What's your favorite manifestation hack, if you don't mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, we got so many. I was right before this call, I was thinking about which one I wanted to share. If you asked me that, because I did a 2020 countdown, so there's 20 of them to choose from. I think I'm going to go with the How Are You hack, and you can the 20 hacks are on my website, but the How Are You hack is, I think, maybe my favorite, and it's also it's a surprising one. So how are you is like a very common thing that we ask everyone all day when you meet someone new. Hey, how are you? And I think it's one of the most underused hacks out there, because most people are either going to complain about something, because we love the whole misery loves company thing, or we're going to talk about meaningless things like the weather, or we're going to say even something lower vibration like fine. So I teach people to use how are you to basically plant a seed of something that you want for yourself, because you never know the someone that knows the someone. So right now, let's say in my life, I'm looking for someone to take my apartment in New York when I get back, because I'm going to resublet. So someone says, hey, how are you? I'm great. I'm headed back to New York, going to be, resubletting it. So I'm just automatically bringing something that I may need or could use help with. And it's something that you can do with anything. I'm looking for a new house. I'm thinking of fostering a dog. I'm looking for a gym in my area. It's just a way to connect on something that, people really do want to help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And would you actually, yeah, would you actually use it if somebody asks you like today, how are you? Would you respond the same way to your manifestation as well, or?
Yeah, I use it all the time. I really try to be mindful about, if I'm talking to a really good friend and I need to get something out, that's different. But yeah, I really try to stay in that type of vibration of calling in what I'm building, because that's what manifesting is. I call it practical manifesting, because I don't think that manifesting is like a switch we turn on and off. It's a way of life. And it is embedded in the words you're using, in the conversations you're having, the way you're positioning yourself in your own life. Are you thinking about what's coming and building what's next, or are you staying back there in something that has happened or isn't working? It's always a choice. So yes, I
That's
try to
actually
embody
that's
it.
actually a very clever way of doing it, because when you meet people, if you want to solve like an issue, or if you have an issue and you're thinking about it, and if somebody asks you how are you, and then you bring it up in that conversation, you never know, that person might have the solution to that problem. That person might know somebody that is looking for an apartment in New York, or some that they can sublet. Or it's actually a very a good practical way of thinking about
Mhm.
manifestation. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, try it out. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You've
Absolutely.
Hey,
also
Yusuf, how
mentioned,
are you?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I don't, well, yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good. I just would like to get more people on this podcast. So that's, and then maybe you'll
Oh,
get
well, I might know
others.
someone.
Yeah, 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 totally. You've also mentioned something that really caught my attention in your bio, the habit hole. Would you mind diving deeper
Mm.
into it?
Yeah, we're all find ourselves in habit holes, don't we? I mean, it's kind of like what it sounds like, rabbit hole, but a habit hole. When we say, "Oh, I'm so deep into the rabbit hole," you're like lost down there, don't know which way is up. So a habit hole is basically when the habit has taken over, and as I shared with food, eating became certain way of eating, certain way of being was almost like a habit that I found myself in the habit hole, and I had to find a way out. So really, I took a deep dive into how do we break habits? What is a habit? And that's what the programs that I've been mentioning, the audios, they begin to change just one word, how you see something. Again, perspective shifting is everything. So for me, getting out of a habit hole is about using some of these practical manifesting hacks on a daily basis, and just to begin to change your behavior one breath at a time, one thought at a time, just one little step at a time. And you find yourself getting out slowly and then building a new habit.
So this was a clip from the interview with Lisa Meta Griff. We had another great interview with another great entrepreneur. We got to talk about a lot of things, actually. We discussed, a wide range of topic, things that cover her entrepreneurial journey, the challenges that she faced, and also how she overcame those challenges, and also how to overcome negative thinking, and try to use a little bit more of positive manifestation techniques in order to turn your days around and turn your mood around. So that was a clip from that.
yeah. I
Anything
think
to
the
say about
negative.
that interview?
Well, yeah, well, definitely just about the negative thinking, and then about Lisa in general. But like, I think that's super, super important, and bless her for sharing that with people, because we don't realize like the impact that like our thoughts can have when we have so many in a day, and there's a lot of negative thinking. It can affect obviously our success. It can affect our health. It's really can be detrimental. And Lisa did talk about kind of her journey from an unhealthy life to a much more healthier one. And she sort of reminds me of Colin in that she's created this business where she's really just focusing on doing what she wants. And she's obviously a creative and free-spirited person, and she's built this business where she stays in Mexico for half the year. That's what she was talking about, her apartment. When I go back to New York, she's actually in Mexico where she does retreats with people. So I think she's a very inspirational person, and also gave us really practical advice in the interview as well. So you definitely do want to watch that full one.
Yeah, and one thing about the how are you hack, it actually works. It's maybe I shouldn't even spill this secret, but but this is what happened. Like, it does work, because the other day I remember I was busy working on a project, and then my brother, just came to the room, and my brothers and I, we live together. So he came to the room and he asked me, he wanted something, and then he asked me, "How are you?" Right? So I said, "I'm good, but I'm hungry, and I'm also busy, and I need to finish up this project, and I don't want to cook." And honestly, I had no intentions of try to manipulate him. I know, manipulate him into either cooking or bringing food. And then before I knew it, he actually made an order from a place called German Kebab, and Alice knows that place.
Oh, yummy!
It's a really good. Yeah, so
food is always a wonderful manifestation.
Yeah, and it works. Like, the stuff that you need in life, try to incorporate it into your the answers that you get from people, and you never know, somebody might help. You might do it in business, as we were joking in the clip about the podcast. She asked me, "How are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just trying to get more people on the podcast." And then she said, "Maybe I know somebody," right? So that's how that manifestation hack works. And she also dived deeper into a lot of very other useful and important stuff that I hope you will be tuning in to watch her episode when it gets released.
The only one other thing, like when we talk about manifestation too, a lot of people think it's like this woo-woo thing, but it's literally, and they say put it out in the universe, right? And people think, oh, that's weird. What is it? But it really is. It's just sharing it. And it's funny how sometimes people who do it don't even realize how it's happened. I mean, I've seen people who talk about manifestation as though it is some magical thing, where they will say like, oh, I didn't like, that. For example, in a group that I used to belong into, it was like single women, and they the one lady said, "Oh, this guy I'm dating, he just brought me a TV out of the blue, and I just really needed one." And she acted like he just like it just appeared, like, and she did. Oh no, actually, she didn't even say it was a guy who was dating her. She said it just appeared on her doorstep. But obviously it was a guy that she had told, she needs this TV. And it's like, that's what it is. I really, it's a way of communicating. And I think it's positive manner too. And like, I love it.
Yeah, no, definitely put your thoughts out there, and then see who will receive them, and perhaps do something on your behalf.
I did wonder though, your example, when you said I'm good, but, and it sounded negative, and I wonder, but it still worked.
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't know enough about manifestation.
I'm having a problem. I'm having a problem with the use of negative words when I'm not actually being negative. The teachers try to change it all the time. Back in the day, they're like, when you say "but," then it means whatever is coming is negative. I'm like, not when I speak. When I say "but," that means I'm just adding another point. I'm just trying to put things in chronological.
Yeah, and that was another thing Lisa talked about, is the words we use, and I think it does make a difference.
Yeah. My case, it might have to do with being or English being my third language, so that could be one thing. Either way, so we talked enough about us and about the clip, and we hope that you will be tuning in. Right now, let's get to the prizes.
Yeah.
So for this one here, we will be giving out years worth of personal development plan content. Wow. Value is $197 dollars for a year's worth of content. Oh, I put that twice, so that's why I'm like reading it. Okay. The question that we would like to ask is, what is Lisa's favorite manifestation hack? The fifth person who answers this question wins.
Yeah. What did she call it? Yeah. Awesome.
Hmm?
So
Yeah,
I guess we
I know
have
the answer. I'm not gonna spoil it.
one more
Yeah, we have one more.
interview with a great, inspiring, I was going to say young lady. I mean, she is young, but maybe that a lot of people I think will know. But also just wanted to say, so we are these, if it wasn't clear, that these are all interviews that are going to be published over the next few weeks. So you can join us on Wednesdays at the same time over the next few weeks, and we will announce the schedule and all that. And we hope that you'll join us, and we'll have a little giveaway at each one that you won't want to miss. So next up is, and final interview for today, and then we'll have a little chat afterwards, but is Becky Beach. And many of you will know her as a printables expert, former web developer. She's a go-getter and also a competitive chorus member, which I thought was pretty cool. And the clip we're going to watch is about her coming out on top despite a little more rough upbringing and some mental health issues. And she talks about taking time for self-care and pursuing other pursuits and helping the community.
You also mentioned like your own upbringing and stuff too. Like, how do you find, like, I'm sure that was challenging, right, to break free from that and be a different kind of parent. And do you think like your entrepreneurship, being around for your son has helped you do that? Or, what kind of thoughts do you have about that?
Yes, I was working 6-hour weeks and was interfering with my mental health. I suffer from a mental disability called bipolar. So it was really getting me stressed out at work, and because it's working 6-hour weeks. And but I've always been very high functioning. Like I take medicine, and it like I have no symptoms really of that. And so I've just been working really hard, and I've noticed my mental health. Like there was some days where I couldn't get out of bed, like I was unable to focus. So I knew this was like going to be a problem. So I thought I just need to do something for myself. I can't keep working these stressful jobs, because my mother also had a stressful job. She was a fashion designer, and she worked for like a really like big bridal company. And I remember she was always stressed out and worked long hours. And then that interfered with her mental health, and she developed schizophrenia. And then she could no longer work. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself, and there are so many challenges. And that's what I find about entrepreneurship too. Like, there are mental health struggles in my own home too. And to be able to be there for my kids and stuff, so that, and also my own, in the past few years. And I think a lot of people, a lot of more anxiety in a lot of us in the environment we live in and stuff. So being able to have time to take care of yourself, to take care of your home, to take care of your family, and to appreciate all you have. Yeah, so good.
Oh yeah, it's like so super important to care for your mental health. I got to do a day of self-care each week. Like on Fridays, I'll usually go get my nails done. I like to get really pretty nails, and then I'll get my hair. I'm due to get my hair done. I need to get my bangs recut, my hair colored. I'm starting to get gray. But you need to do some self-care at least like once a week to recharge your batteries, or you'll get stressed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has your business allowed you to pursue any other goals in life, or is there anything exciting that you still would like to do and you think that your business will allow you to do it in the future?
Well, I'm also singing a chorus. Like I started doing that last year. I've always been a lover of singing. Like I sang in musicals in high school, but now I get to sing in a chorus, and we're going to go to a competition next month, and there'll be no way I could get off work to go to there, because a lot of the women in the chorus are like retired, or maybe they're like they can get off work. Of course, probably they can. But I remember the jobs I had, I could only get off like 2 weeks at a time. Now I can pursue these other hobbies I've always wanted to pursue.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And I think a lot of the people that we want to interview on this podcast are people who have like these other cool things that they have going on in their lives that they're able to do because they're entrepreneurs. You know, a lot of them are helping out in their communities, and you're doing, what you're doing is great for the community too. It's arts, it's important. So it's great that you're able to do that.
Yeah, we perform at a lot of senior homes and like hospitals, like do a lot of community outreach.
Oh, nice. That's
That's
so
nice.
wonderful.
And is it all in the Dallas area, or do you guys get to travel as well?
Oh yes, we're traveling to Houston next month, and I just came back from a retreat in North Texas.
Okay, nice.
Like I was there over the weekend, and there'd be no way I could take off so much work to do these things for my hobby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely being a self-entrepreneur gives you a lot of time and freedom to do whatever you want, and that's what we're encouraging people to do
Mhm.
with what we're doing, and I believe you do as well. All right, that was another clip from another interview that we made with Becky Beach.
Yeah.
Alice?
I love Becky. She really stands out as somebody who will experiment and also is really rightly proud of her accomplishments. And she shares a lot. And I think that inspires other people. She is also a very talented designer and marketer, and someone definitely to pay attention to. So we had a nice conversation with her for sure too, that you guys, you're going to want to learn more about, especially for our printable sellers and things like that, that you'll find it inspirational. She shared about how she came to quit her job as well. She's a very hard worker like Ty, and maybe kind of, did that little balance as well, where she maybe stayed in her job a little longer, but she definitely did take that leap.
Yeah, so that was actually a question that we asked a lot of entrepreneurs, how long it took them to actually quit their job, and was it by accident or not? Simply because, as I mentioned earlier, or a little bit briefly, one of the toughest things as an entrepreneur is actually know when to walk away from your job. From the actual job, like when you first get started. So that's why we keep on asking people how they made that transition. And I believe when it comes to Becky, if I remember correctly, she was working at, I think, if I'm not mistaken, either marketer or an accountant for an airline.
Web designer.
A web design. Sorry, okay.
I believe it was an airline. Yeah.
Yeah, a web designer for an airline. So I'm sorry, we've interviewed a lot of people. So this was actually the first interview that was conducted more than 6 weeks ago. So I'm a little bit of the information is not there. But either way, so a wonderful interview. We got to know a lot of stuff about her, and I hope that you will be tuning in to watch the full episode, as you will definitely benefit from it. So right now, let's get to prizes, Alice.
The final prize, and then we'll have some parting thoughts for you guys. And we hope you have enjoyed this peek into what we have for you. But we chose our 33 niche mini journal Canva template packs. Buy them separately, it would cost you $264, but it sells for $67 on our website. And we chose that because Becky is a printable seller, so it fit right in. But we're gonna give this to the 9th person to answer correctly. What is Becky's hobby that has her traveling for competitions? So put that in the chat and we will deliver that as
My
well.
answer?
What?
I'm joking.
You want the prize?
Yes, I want the prize.
You can maybe use the templates.
Yeah,
already.
no.
Yeah.
No, it was just a joke. I hope you guys enjoyed it though. So go ahead and put the right answer, and then through the chat we will be picking the winner. So Alice and I will be active in the chat because this is just a recorded session. So
yes, there we are. But also, as we wrap up, we wanted to kind of, if you joined us and you just found us on YouTube, our podcast website is lifestyleselfmade.com, and you can sign up for updates there. Do definitely follow our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like, consider joining us as a member. There are some extra perks and private live streams, download credits for done for you content, and other handy stuff. And to join us as a full member, you would just click the join. There should be a join button below this video that you're watching, and you can join us and get those extra perks. We'd love it very much. And anything else you'd want to mention, Yusuf?
yeah, definitely. So if you're stumbled upon here by mistake, or if you is not familiar with eKit Entrepreneurs Kit Hub, I just want to tell you a little bit more. If these interviews intrigued you into getting started with your entrepreneurial experience or entrepreneurial journey, then please go ahead and visit ekithubuniversity.com. Where we offer several classes for free that will teach you fundamental business strategies that will help you grow and expand your business and take it to the next level. So again, ekithubuniversity.com. We have several free classes, and we continue to release free classes as we go. And then we have a few premium classes that you can take as well. But start off with the free classes, as you will learn how to build your email list, how to find your customers, how to make more per sales. These are the three classes that are available right now, and there will be more that will be available. And make sure to sign up as soon as possible for those classes, because we are actually intending to at some point make them paid classes rather than free classes. So I would encourage you to take this opportunity to go to ekithubuniversity.com and start your journey, and also join the community that we have over there. It's called the Q&A brainstorming community, where you can engage with thousands of other members in the community for free, where you can share your thoughts, share your ideas, and get to know people. You can start your own profile, your own page, write a little bit more about yourselves, to encourage other people to get to know you, and then perhaps find somebody in the community that you can work with, whether on an affiliate level, they market your own product, or at a business partner level, where you partner up with the person to start a business, the same way Alice and I have done. So these are some of the things that you can do, and you can do it perfectly when you are in a community with like-minded people. And the community that we're building is for entrepreneurs with beginners, advanced, and intermediary levels. So we literally cover everything, and I hope you will take the opportunity to join us there. So ekithubuniversity.com.
Yeah, and I wanted to briefly mention too, because it will tie into the podcast. So again, we'll be meeting again next Wednesday for our first episode. Did we decide who's gonna be next? Are we gonna share Ty's interview? Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna start with Ty's interview, and then we're gonna work our way down. So if you have any request on who you want to see first.
Are we gonna
after Ty's interview, put it in the chat. Just we're curious. We would like to know which one intrigued you the most. But they're all
great.
amazing
Yes.
interviews that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. So and one thing we're going to do in there, this ties in with eKit University and our next podcast that I wanted to mention. So when you do join ekithubuniversity.com for the free classes, they're free. They are great, excellent things that will help you take practical steps to growing your list, building your audience, and also creating product funnels and delivering great value to your customers. We also do have our Platinum Inner Circle upgrade option, which is a more closely knit group and a little bit more serious minded and taking action, lots of accountability involved. But I wanted to mention it because we will also, in the next week's podcast, we will give away a 3-month membership to our Platinum Inner Circle. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what it's like and perhaps get a chance to join us in that, definitely join us live for the next Wednesday when we learn more from Ty. All right, you're thirsty now, so it must be it's time to wrap it up.
It probably is. Good call. But definitely tune in for the next interviews and follow or opt in for Lifestyle Self-Made so that you can, get an update on the releases as they
We'll
happen.
put the links in the description of well as in this video. They should actually already be there for you. So you can go ahead and click and do those things you need to do.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Sweet. Bye-bye.
Bye.